Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raising Noir Twins and Business Friends podcast. So if you are just tuning in, if this is your first time listening, thank you so much. And if you're a returning avid listener, thank you so much. We appreciate you. So look, today, y'all, I have someone that's not only a colleague of mine, but this young lady, okay, first of all, she's a published author of not one, but two books, okay? Boom and boom. Okay. And not only that, if that wasn't enough, because, being a published author, that's a big deal, right? But she's also a motivational speaker and a certified life coach. So everybody, please give a round of applause and welcome my friend, my colleague, Miss Angela Wynette. How you doing, girl?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, of course. So I always like to start with how we met. Now, I know it said we're colleagues, and I don't know if you remember, because, we work with a lot of people, right? But sometimes people just kind of stick with you, you know what I'm saying? And so I think I was jump seating on one of your flights. This was years ago. I was still based in Miami. Okay. Because sometimes I'll be like, am I crazy for remembering this? Because, it's so long ago. But I remember sitting there, and we kind of had a personal conversation on the jump seat. And so I think that's probably another reason why I really remembered. But we share a mutual person too, that's no longer here. She passed a few years ago, and that's Mama T. And so just how do you know Mama T?
So Mama T was one of my adopted grandmothers. I grew up with her through the pastor realm. My dad is a pastor, so her husband was his mentor.
Okay.
And so I literally knew her since I was a little girl, literally maybe 4 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
And so she just took me under her wing. She groomed me. She just always saw in me things that I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And so she was just absolutely amazing. So yeah, when we lost her last year, that was a little hard loss for me, losing her, because even in her moments of her final moments of being sick, she still would take the time to text me, to encourage me, to let me know she read my book, and so it was just an inspiring thing to have her in your life. If you knew her, you knew a gem.
Yes, you really did. And how I knew her, before I started becoming a flight attendant, I was living in Dallas. And so, and I was married before. And so my ex-husband and I, we attended, Mount Rose. Yes. This was 10 years ago, y'all. Okay. Right. So it was Mount Rose, and that's how I was introduced to her. And when we were going through our divorce and separated, and she was just really, this was really one of the most difficult times in my life, and she was just there. Okay. And I was a little nervous because I'm well, she knows him, you know what I mean? Right. And so and now that I know her or knew her, it's okay, she wouldn't even have been like that. You know what I'm saying? It's
no,
she just
pick sides.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
Wrong,
Exactly. And so she really, she was always just really that person when I felt like I didn't even really have anyone to go to, because I was embarrassed to go to my family and talk to them about everything that was going on. She was there. So it just shows how small of a world and how just great of a person she is, but that's also a connection that we have that I didn't even find out till later on. At the time when I first met you, that didn't even come up, knowing about Mama T. But to have that person in common, I was oh, she good people. She gotta be. You know what I mean? Because Mama T ain't gonna fool with just anybody, you know?
You knew her. I don't care how, she had to love you to love you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. And so, as you were saying, she was very supportive of you and your book and your journey and everything that you were going through. So tell us a little bit more about your book. Your first one was My Pain versus My Purpose. Is that correct? Yes. The first one, right? Okay. I just want to make sure I get it right, girl.
No, you got it right. So yes, that was my first book. I started that during the pandemic. I actually had wrote it prior to, but it was one of those things where it was a personal story, and it involved other people. So I was always very hesitant about putting information out there, because again, it was about other people. Not that it was, a horrible thing about other people, but it just included other people that were close in my life.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm very protective of that as well as myself. And so it was just one of those things where during the pandemic, I really just had time to sit down, and God just said, put it out there. My friends They would call, my friends would be like, you should do this, you should do that. And so it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this step, this leap, and see what happens. And so, yeah, I put it out during the pandemic, and I'll never forget it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to market it on Black Friday because everybody's shopping.
Right.
So, I'm going to put it out there and see what happens. And it's been just, it's been a whirlwind ever since, in a good way. Like, it's just taken off in ways that I could even imagine.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And so I was reading your books, and the first one to me, like you said, it's more of like your personal journey, the things that you were going through. And the second one is more what I felt like is like a guide to, after being hurt, to being healed and to being happy. Is that what you were kind of going with, the direction of that book?
Yes. So the first book talks about, like she said, about just everything you can go through in life, from grief, loss of loved ones unexpectedly. I lost my little brother unexpectedly at the age of 20 years old due to diabetes. I was in a toxic marriage myself. And so I was in the process of transitioning out of that when that loss of my brother happened. And I had relocated to Florida. So it was just a lot of transitioning going on. And I was getting ready to come back to Dallas. And it talks about my diagnosis of discovering cancer at the age of 19, just starting college. So, young, first and only case in my family. But yes, I overcame ovarian and cervical cancer. So I had to deal with that at a young age.
Yeah.
And that put a strain on my relationship with my family. So it talks about just everything you can go through, from, again, estranged relationships, toxic marriages, grief, self-depression, self-esteem issues. It covers all of that in the first book. And then, the second book is a tell-all of basically step-by-step guide. Because once I wrote the first book, I got a lot of feedback where everybody kept saying, how did you get to that next level? How did you get to that next step?
Because that's not easy. It's not an easy process, right?
And especially when you have layers of things that you're trying to dissect and work through and overcome. And so that's when this second book came in, because I really wanted to give people tools that they could use and utilize to be able to really start to heal from those things that they went through. And so, yes, that second book, Hurt, Healed, and Happy, it talks about literally what I did in different methods take to overcome those issues, whether that's going to counseling, confronting the person that hurt you, that that helped in that situation, so that now you're hurt and you have to heal from it.
Right.
Or even, just writing it down if you're not good at talking about it, because I was not. Not
that's my thing too.
Yes. I was not a face-to-face conversational person, but I did love to write. I can articulate very well in my writing. So I was like, okay, I can say it better in writing.
Right. I'm like, oh, that's it right here.
Right. So if that's your niche, then I tell people all the time, hey, write it down. But just as long as you get it out.
Yes.
Find you a support group. If you don't necessarily like counseling, find you a support group. Somebody that, even if it's not a face-to-face group, an online group, just something that you can utilize that will help you in a positive way. Because even I tell people, be careful with, going to friends and family members.
Yeah.
Because that can always be a little touchy too.
It can be, really.
Yes. So just make sure it's a positive outlet.
Yeah, that part. And so you mentioned earlier that at 19 you were diagnosed with cancer. And so throughout your book, there's the common thread of your faith, right? You grew up with your faith. Your parents, maybe, I know your dad for sure. Was your mother a pastor as well?
No, she was an elementary teacher. She's now a daycare director. So that's what she's now, because she's just have a heart and love for kids.
Gotcha.
My dad is still a pastor, has in my entire life. So almost 40 years now.
Right.
But yeah, so he is still a pastor here in Dallas. But yeah, that was my whole life, growing up as they say, a PK kid.
Right.
That's who I was. So.
And so how did that, when you were diagnosed at 19, did that test your faith in God, or question your faith, or like, how was that, because, I recently lost my sister to cancer, and you don't want to question them. You don't, but I just, you have your question of why, like, was there any moment where you're like, well, why me, or, cause I'm like, why my sister? She was a great person. She, she wasn't out there like putting toxins in her body. She was eating right. She was all these things. So it's like, why, So I just wanted to ask, did at any point with the diagnosis where felt like your faith kind of wavered a little bit? And if so, how were you able to get that back?
Most definitely. And I will tell people all the time that, during that process at the time, I was very angry with God. I stepped away from my faith. I even battled, suicidal thoughts. Again, being 19, the
Yeah.
only first case in my family. And so, I went through this phase of, like you said, why me?
Mhm.
I'm healthy. I'm nice to everybody. I help
Mhm.
anybody that I can. So
Yeah.
you go through those moments of questioning of,
Mhm.
I'm living right. As you said, my sister was living right. So
Mhm.
it's like, you feel like, why?
Mhm.
And it was during that time that I had to redirect my vision
Mhm.
of from why me to why not me. And
Okay.
so it was during that phase of once I went through my stages, because it was stages,
Right.
you
I'm
know,
sure.
it was not an overnight thing. It was that mindset was there for years. If I'm being
Mhm.
honest and candid, I was angry with God for years. I
Yeah.
still went to church on and off, but my faith and my spiritual walk was just not there, and that's
Yeah.
what led to my toxic marriage,
Mhm.
to me just rebelling, acting out, not really close with my family at the time, because
Right.
again,
Yeah.
I went through that phase of, why me? What's going on? Well, if living right isn't gonna, get me anywhere good, then I might as well just
Mhm.
do whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and so I did. My faith was very well tested, and it was in that moment of actually when I lost my brother years later that
Mhm.
it was in that moment of having somebody healthy like him,
Mhm.
that he comes home from school one weekend and we think it's a stomach bug, and next thing
Right.
we know, he's in cardiac arrest and
Oh,
brain
no.
dead, and we lose him within 4 days.
Oh, my.
And so it goes from me being sick, surgery after surgery, hospital
Mhm.
stay after hospital stay, to where we would have thought, that it would have been me,
Mm.
but yet here
Mhm.
I am, I'm still here. And it was in that moment where I said, okay, God, if you can still have me here and go through all that I went through, and it must be for a purpose.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so I had to redirect my mind frame at that point to say, okay, instead of why me, why not me? What are
Yeah.
you doing in this season for me to use this as
Mhm.
a tool to be able to help others and show others? And so, even in the loss of your sister, and my condolences to you, because I did see that, and my heart goes out to you,
Thank you.
because I know how that is to lose a sibling when you're close and they're these great people, and you don't expect it, and you pray and you're like, okay, God, because even in that moment of losing my brother, our prayers in the beginning were, okay, God, after cardiac arrest, save them,
Mhm.
help them. But then when they came back and say, okay, guys, he's brain dead, so even if you get him back, he's going to be a vegetable.
Right. Yeah.
We had to redirect our prayers
Mhm.
of,
Mhm.
okay, let me remove the selfishness, because as humans we
And
can
that's
play,
yes. Yes.
and so it was, okay, let me remove the selfishness of wanting him to still be here, because
Mhm.
I know that's not a quality of life as a 20-year-old that he
Exactly.
would have wanted.
Mhm.
And knowing his path that he was trying to work towards in college was to be a radio broadcaster, and all this,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
vibrant, full of life. So I was like, I wouldn't want him to suffer like that.
Yeah.
At that point, it changed from being selfish to saying, okay, God, your will be done.
Yeah.
And in that same instance with him, I had to pray about that for myself. Okay,
Mhm.
Angela, God, it's time for you, for your will to be done, because I've
Yeah.
done it my way. That didn't work.
Yeah.
And so now it's time for me to surrender to you, and
Mhm.
let you do your thing. And ever since I did, it's been absolutely amazing. The
Wow.
journey,
Yeah.
the journey has not been easy. And I
Uh-huh.
will say, even in grief for yourself, I'll say give yourself grace, because even in the moments where we still question why them,
Mhm.
um, I had to realize that even in that moment, his purpose had been served. He
Mhm.
touched the lives that he was supposed to touch.
Yeah.
He made the impacts that he was supposed to make. And the
Yeah.
same for her. I didn't know her personally, but I could just see from the pictures and the videos that you posted
Yeah.
that she had a vibrant, beautiful, sweet soul.
She
So
did.
she touched the lives that she was supposed to. She made the differences that she was supposed to. And even in that moments when you miss her or you question it, just you'll get those affirmations to where you'll
Yeah.
understand why, and that
Mhm.
we're not here for a long time. So we
Yeah.
have to appreciate the moments that we do get.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that. Look, I'm up here getting that motivational speech today myself. But so I needed to hear that. I really did. Like you said, we were close, and it comes. Grief it's a weird thing. It's like you think you good, and then a scent, a sound, a smell, a music, or something can just like spark that, and you just like, oh, like she really not here. Like,
Right, right, right.
so thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. And just you sharing that testimony, a powerful testimony at that. So is that how you kind of, I guess, switch gears, not even switch gears, but add it to your repertoire of things that you do, to being a life coach and motivational speaker? Like, how did you kind of maneuver into that lane?
So that started because all my life it was always this running joke about my nickname was Mama Angie. Everybody came to me for advice, for little tidbits and
Hmm.
direction and guidance. And so I was just always that person in the friend group, whether I wanted to be or not. It
Right.
was just, I was just always that person. And so I'm one
Hmm.
of those people that I never want to lead somebody off of emotion
Hmm.
because, I could always be wrong or whatever. And so, again, during the pandemic, I had time to sit down and really focus when we were furloughed from flying. And
Right.
so I had time off. And so I decided to go back to school because I really wanted
Okay.
to, I decided, okay, Angela, if this is going to be who you are, if you're going to be a counselor, if you're going to give guidance, then I wanted to make sure I was doing it right.
Yeah.
I wanted to be literally legitimate in what I was doing because, like I
Hmm.
said, I didn't want to be somebody that acted off of emotion and then I mislead you and then now you're blaming me,
Yeah.
for a decision that you make that could
Right.
impact the rest of
Right.
your life. So I really wanted to give those close to me and those that I don't know the necessary tools that they needed to succeed. And
Hmm.
I wanted to make sure I was doing that in the well versed knowledge and be diverse so that I can help people in many different avenues. And so, yeah, I
Yeah.
went back to school and expanded my knowledge on it. And I still learn to this day. I'm still, researching stuff, looking up stuff, just trying to expand my knowledge because, again, I want to be able to help all generations,
Hmm.
all races, creeds, color, everything. I want to be able to make that impact to where we seriously start to break generational cycles. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm here for.
Okay, well, awesome. First of all, thank you for that because I think at some point, like, I would like to do it, but girl, I think I'm too nervous to get up there and just speak in front of a whole mass of people. And you just be up there like commanding the stage. But like you said, sometimes it's just in you, right? It's like something that you're just naturally a gift that you're born with because whatever message or whatever your purpose is, he's gonna give you that gift to get it out to the people and get your message out there and
Right,
heard, right?
right, most
So,
definitely. And if
right.
I'm honest, I'm nervous too. There are times when I'm up there and I'm like shaking, and people be like, "Oh, I never can tell."
Right.
And I was always used to being in front of people being a preacher's kid. So I
Oh,
had to
that's
be
right. Yeah.
I had to be in the front of the church leading choir and
Uh-huh.
doing speeches and all this. So I was used to that small setting.
Yeah.
So even the realms that I'm touching now with
Mhm.
larger audiences and
Yeah.
people that I don't know, it's just I still blow my mind at certain times
Yeah.
where I'm like, you did that. That actually happened. So
Right,
it's
right.
still a humbling moment for me because I never want to get to that point where I feel like I know it all, I got it all,
Right.
I've
Yeah,
arrived.
yeah.
So it's still I'm still very grateful and I have a lot of gratitude and like I said,
Mhm.
humility to be on the places and the platforms that I am. So yes,
Yeah.
it's still a little nerve wracking, but again, I know that that's my calling, what I'm supposed to be doing. So I walk boldly in it because as long as I can make a difference, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And so with this, with you being an author and a certified life coach and motivational speaker, like this is your brand, right? And so one of the things I think what my guests usually have in common is that they're all entrepreneurs. There's always like, we always doing the most. We got to be doing something, right? Not the most in a bad way, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, okay, what other thing can I do to kind of, I guess, build my brand or to get my message out in a positive way. And so with that being said, what struggles or maybe like setbacks have you experienced kind of like building your brand? Because it's not an easy thing, being an entrepreneur and putting yourself out there. And so there might be somebody that's listening that's, has this idea, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to I want to be a certified life coach, or I want to be a motivational speaker or publish a book or something. What would you say to them or encourage them on their journey?
For me, I would give the advice of really focus on and hone in on what you really want to do. Because a lot of people that I talk to, they'll say, oh, I have all of these ideas.
Yeah.
But that's how you overwhelm yourself.
Yeah.
Because you start all of these projects and you bite off more than you can chew, and then you feel, defeated and discouraged because you haven't gotten where you want to be. And it's because we overwhelm ourselves.
Yeah.
We start with all these different projects, but we don't necessarily just focus on that one main important one that could lead to all the other areas that we want to capture and, touch and conquer. And so that's one thing that I would say is just really hone in on whatever your niche is.
Okay.
And stick to that and really put in your work on that one. And then my next advice would be is to run your own race. Don't judge
that
yourself.
Part. Yes.
Don't try to compete with others. Don't try to, put yourself up against someone else and say, okay, but they're here and I should be here and I'm not. We're all different.
Yes.
We're all running our own paths.
Yes.
And some people may be better at something that we're not, or, we may be better at something that they're not, but they're doing, well better off than us. And so again, I would say do you at your pace. Yeah. Because once you start comparing yourselves to others, that's when you start to get discouraged, or you start doing things prior to before you're supposed to.
Right. Yeah.
That will mess you up as well. As the old people would say, when you start putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
And so you start moving too fastly, and the puzzle pieces aren't in place for you to be successful, and then you burn out quickly.
Yeah.
So you lose momentum. And so I would just say, again, cater your business to you. Cater your brand to you. And one thing I'm still learning, and I would say it and I say it over and over again, find balance.
Yes.
Because you will find yourself getting consumed. Like you said, I'm a flight attendant.
Yes.
I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a life coach. I'm an author. And then I'm also a human being. So I have an outside life. I have family, I have a personal life. I have friends. So it can become overwhelming. And sometimes we like to take on that superhero syndrome of, I got it, I can do it.
Girl,
and
you preach it to the choir now.
And so you will find yourself, just getting overwhelmed. And that was me at the end of last year, trying to figure out how to build a new home and, have a personal life outside of that and still work a full-time job and just, manage my brand together and going on tour and speaking and all of this. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
So in December, I literally just had to say, you know what? I choose me right now.
Yeah.
And know that that's not being selfish.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have to put yourself first if you're really going to be successful.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you're selfish. It doesn't mean that you don't care about those, around you. It just means that I can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
And I have to be able to be the best version of myself if I'm going to be successful and help others.
Yes.
So find balance.
Balance. Y'all hear that? Balance is the key, okay? I'm still working on that, by the way, okay? Because look, I done added twins to the mix, flight attendant, podcast, this, that, like, you know, but balance is key. I agree with you 100%. And so like you were saying, it's not an easy thing. Building your brand, you know, there's some setbacks and, you know, finding that balance that I think it's a continuous thing, because as you continue to grow, there's something else that we're putting on our plate, you know what I mean? So we got to find the balance and where to put that and everything. But I mean, even though you're still trying to find it seems like you're doing pretty good at it, because you just won an award for your book, wasn't it? Hold on. DFW Gospel Book Award?
Yes.
Okay.
Author of the year.
Author of the year. Yes. Yeah, author of the year. I'm sorry, girl. Yes. I'm gonna get it right.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yes, I did, and that was unexpected, because I wasn't expecting that. So when I got the invitation, it was like, who me? And I had to, you know, I messaged, I was like, who me?
Right.
So again, it's things like that when I feel like I'm not making an impact, or I feel like I'm not where I you know, would like for myself to be. It's those little reminders that show me and keep me humbled on that path of, you are making a difference.
Yes.
You are doing a good thing, you know? And so it's just, that was very, very, very great to have that opportunity and that experience, and to have my family and close friends and everybody there to support me, you know? So it was a lovely experience, and I'm grateful for it. And, I would just love to see where things go next. So.
Yeah. And so when you first started out on this journey of, like, you know, first it was just writing, right? You wrote your books. What did you envision initially? Like, did you have an idea of what you wanted from this? Or you were just like, I just feel like I need to tell my story? Like, what was your goal or your vision for this? And where you are now, did you see this back then?
I did not see any of this.
Really?
I did not envision any of this. It was literally me just listening to that inner voice of hearing God speak and saying, it's time.
Okay.
It's time to put your story out there. It's time to start helping others. And people always ask me, how do you get this? How do you do that? How do you, you know, because I've been in newspaper articles and front cover of magazines and on the radio. And interviews. And people always ask me, you know, how do you get all this stuff? And I promise you guys, it's literally by referral, or just, you know, by the right person sending my information to someone. All of this has just been a blessing. I mean, yes, I am putting in the work, but a lot of this has been, a lot of this has been just referrals from people that have just seen my work or heard my speech or saw it online, or someone, you know, referred my name that I didn't even know was speaking about me.
Right.
And so, where I am now, no, I never would have imagined or even thought that it would go this far. I mean, I'm working on projects now that, you know, that could take me to a whole another level that I never thought would be possible. So I literally say it's all been the work of God's hands. That what I'm supposed to be doing. And so he just keeps confirming that through all the different opportunities that keep falling into place for me.
Nice. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about, so on Instagram, and we'll get to like your handles and stuff so people can follow you, because she does these things on Instagram where it's let's talk with Author Ange, right? So what made you want to go on IG and just like have that conversation with people? And it's usually like daily affirmations or a message or something that's kind of come to you. So talk a little bit more about that. Why did you want to do that for your followers?
Let's Talk with Author Angela actually started for a YouTube channel. I kept getting told, you need to get on YouTube for those who aren't on Facebook and Instagram and all that. And I was like, oh Lord, another social media site.
Right.
And so, you know, it was just something else for me to handle. But so it started out with a YouTube channel, and then I just started reposting it on all my other sites. And literally it was messages that I was doing every day to my friends over the phone or in person. And I would always get told, even on the jump seat therapy, as we say, as I'm riding with flight attendants, you know, and I would say different, you know, motivational things to them, and they'd be like, oh my God, you need to say that out loud. You need to tell somebody that, you know. And so it was in that moment of just being told over and over again, oh, you should say that out loud, or you should take that. Oh, that sounded good. That I was like, you know what? okay, let's start a channel.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And it's literally just let's talk because that's literally what I'm doing with my friends and stuff. It's literally just us talking.
Yeah.
And so it's just in those moments when motivational things come to me and
Mm-hmm.
I, feel like, okay, somebody needs to hear that,
Yeah.
or God dropped something in my spirit. I'll just pull up my phone, whether I'm driving in the car,
Yeah.
whether I'm sitting at the house, whether I'm at work on the plane, it's
Uh-huh.
in those moments where I'm like, okay, let me share this, and I'll share it, and I get tons of feedback, and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you really spoke to me that day. I needed to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a little affirmation to just help people out because you just never know that little
Yes.
message that can
Mm-hmm.
help someone go a long way. So I'm trying to get better about
Yeah.
recording those because again, finding balance.
Right,
I
right.
get busy and I'll forget, or I'll be like, oh, I need to say that, and then I'll forget. And so
Yeah.
yeah, but those little messages are just my way of just spreading positivity and love and joy.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it because I mean, like you said, you really never know like what people are going through, what kind of day they have, and even just us being flight attendants, right? I always tell people like I never want to be the reason somebody gets on a plane and like their whole experience is just
Right,
like horrible. You know what I mean? Because
most
you don't know
definitely.
if they're on there to go to a funeral. You don't know if it's a happy event they're going to or what, and so I don't want to be the one responsible for making that even worse. Like I want to be like that person is like, oh wow, like I've never had this kind of service or I've never had such a great flight or something like
Right,
that. You know what I
right,
mean? And
most
so for
definitely.
those, excuse me, those daily affirmations, it's to me it's kind of like that where you just never know who needs to hear that. You know what I mean? You never know what people are going through or anything. And even just like reading your book, like I mean, I had no clue. Like I said, our initial meeting was a short jump seat therapy type flight
Right,
type thing, right? So and
right.
it's crazy just to kind of give people a little context is like the jump seat because we're gonna start talking flight attendant legal
I
and
know,
people be
right?
like,
They'll be like, what?
what? It's the seat that we sit in the back and in the front of the plane, y'all. Okay.
Right,
But we come across so many people in our job. So we're never flying with the same people. And so Angela and I wasn't even working the flight. I was just trying to catch a ride somewhere. I don't even know where I was
right,
going that day.
right.
But it was just sometimes you just really connect with people. And I think that's why it was so easy for us to have a really deep conversation. I think I was talking about like my ex-husband and that
And you were
situation.
going through
And
at the time, yeah.
yeah, because
And we were both going through at the
I
time,
think so,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you just never know how your words can impact someone. And just from that short meeting with you, it was a lasting impression on me. So, one, I want to say thank you for that. I know you said you're working on some other things too, as far as, maybe, well, I saw you in our operation. I was going to say ops.
Yeah,
I got to stop talking to flight
I
attendant.
know.
I saw us in the office. I saw you in the office the other day.
Right.
But and you told me that you're working on another book. So what I guess when can we expect that? Is that something you can tell us or
Yes.
are there any other projects or any other endeavors that you're working on cuz I feel like this ain't it. I just don't I'm not getting that vibe from you. It's giving I got more to give.
Right. No, so yes, I definitely have two new projects that are going to be dropping this summer. And
Okay.
so it was going to be next month, but we're going to push it back a little bit until June and July. But
Okay.
I have two new books that'll be dropping this summer, and I'm tapping into a new market. So,
Okay.
guys,
Okay.
that's just a hint. So you'll just
Okay.
have to wait and see what that new
Well, stay
market is.
tuned. Stay
But
tuned.
yes, but I am dropping two new projects. So it'll be two new books this summer, as well
Nice.
as a new theme. Last year's theme was I Am Enough. And so we do have a new theme. Yes, we do have a new theme. So that line will be dropping this summer as well. And then I have a speaking engagement coming up. So for those who were in Dallas last fall, I will be back on the main stage again in
Okay,
September.
okay.
And you guys can catch me September the 30th in Dallas at the Urban Convention Center. I will be there on stage about 11:30,
Mhm.
and so you'll get to see me
Nice.
again there. So if you don't get a chance to be at the book signings this summer, feel free to stop by in September. I will have all of my merchandise there as well, so you can get signed autographed
Yes.
copies in person. But yes,
Awesome.
so we have quite a few things. I'm booked up right now until September.
Okay.
And so yeah, we have a lot of things
Yes.
going on. We're booked and busy. Grateful for it. And
Yes.
so yeah, so we have some more projects that are in the balance, waiting to hear confirmation back for those. So if we do, those will be some big things.
Okay.
And so I'm
Awesome.
excited about those. But yeah, we have some things coming out. So we're staying busy. Yes.
Yes.
This is not the end. Yes. There's
Right,
still more
right.
to come.
And so how can people stay connected with you? What are your on social media, emails or website? How can we stay connected with the merch, with the books and everything that's coming up?
Yes. So I have it all. So my handle is going to be the same on everything. It's
Okay.
Author Angela Wynette. That's where you can find me on Facebook,
Nice.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My email address is that's my website. It's www.angelawynette.com. So my handle is the same for everything. And then my email address, you can also find me at angelawynettealc@gmail. And so it's a lot of places that you can contact me. I am reachable. If you DM me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, I do respond.
Okay.
I'm not, one of those people that you can't contact me. I do respond. Yeah, it may take me 24 hours, but I do try to get back with everybody within 24 hours. But yeah, I am reachable. I'm contactable if you need me for speaking engagements. I do travel, so I'm not just local. I do travel to different states.
Nice. Okay.
Able to do speaking engagements. So that inquiry form is on my website. If you want to book me, you can go to my website again, angelawynette.com.
Okay.
You can inquire to book me there. Or my phone number is listed on there as well, 469-810-0920.
Gotcha.
And, so I do respond to text messages and phone calls as well that way. So there's so many different ways you can reach me.
So no excuses, y'all. Y'all can reach her, okay? She got it all covered. If there's any like mantra that you want to leave, like a message towards people that maybe not only just following in your footsteps, but maybe going through a difficult time, or maybe just starting a business or anything. What's one thing that you would say to the listener that's listening right now, to kind of, I guess, push forward?
My words of wisdom would be: give yourself grace. We are our hardest critics. And sometimes it's our own self-infliction that keeps us from being able to prosper. And so I tell people all the time, give yourself grace, but at the same time, don't let your procrastination be the assassination to your destiny.
Ooh, okay. Oh, I like that one. Yes.
So don't stop procrastinating on you. Stop betting on you, because the minute that you stop betting on you, other people will stop as well.
That is
and
so
we wonder why people don't invest in us, but inadvertently we teach people how to treat us.
That part.
By the way we treat ourselves.
Right.
So go bet on you. You're worth it.
Yeah.
And some. So that's my message to anybody, is to operate in grace, but stop procrastinating.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Angela. This has been amazing. And, this is why I like interviewing flight attendants, because you just never know what you're going to get. Okay. You really don't. And this has been just a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, your testimony and everything. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a beautiful day. And I'm sure God's going to bless whatever else you got in store, girl. So I'm here. I'm watching. I'm a follower. I'm a supporter. Hey, I'm here.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for having me. Again, it's an honor. It's a privilege. Anytime I'm extended the invite, I'm grateful for it, that people think enough of me to want to include me. So thank you. I truly appreciate it. Again, my condolences to you about your sister-in-law. And just know I'm here. If you want to have a moment to talk, to cry, shoulders, whatever, I'm no judgment. I'm here for it all. I support, because again, I know to be in that position. So I love what you're doing. So don't stop, because it's not the end for you either, with those beautiful babies that are getting so big. I love to see it, the way you're handling it, the way you're multitasking, and the way you're not being defeated. So keep at it, Mom. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And you enjoy the rest of your day. And
you too.
All right. You have a good one.
Yes, we'll be in touch.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.